Morning to you all. In my last lecture, I delivered about the classification, about the taxonomy, in other words. And today I am here with my next module. And in this module, I will explain about the five kingdom division system. But before beginning this five kingdom division system of classification, I would like to take you back. What I delivered in the last lecture, I would like to recapitulate. I would like to take you there that in the first lecture of classification, I delivered about the basis of classification, what is classification, why we do classification, what is importance or what is significance of classification. In the classification, as you notice that to make our study simple and easy, to create interest, I already explained that on the basis of their shape, size, on the basis of their characters, we can categorize different plants and animals into different categories, into different groups, classes, whatever. In the hierarchy, I explain you that keeping the different animals into different hierarchy means the top unit of the classification is the kingdom, and the lowest unit of classification is species. When we begin the classification, we always start with the name of kingdom, then phylum for the animals, and for the plants we will write the division. So the first one kingdom, then phylum or division, and then we go for the class, we write the class, then order, then after order we write family, then the name of genus, and the last one is species. In the hierarchy, already you have noticed this in my first lecture for the classification. Okay. Now, moving towards the scientific naming, I already told you that there are certain rule, regulation, international coding for the binomial nomenclature. In the nomenclature, we always name all the plants and animals with two names. Every scientific name is made up of two words. First word represents the genus name, and second word represents the species name. And as far as the writing is concerned, genus always begins with the capital letter. So not commit mistake that sometime you write with the capital letter, you begin with a small letter. So not be there. The capital letter, the genus name always begins with the capital letter, and the second is species always written with the small letter. Start with the small letter. Like Homo sapiens, Rana tigrina. So Homo is the genus name and sapiens is the species name, right? So when we completed this, the first part in the classification, the first part was that binomial nomenclature, the introductory part, I mean the definition of the classification, definition of the binomial nomenclature with examples. When we move that what are the different classification system given by different scientists. So in NCERT textbook, it's very important to begin with the five kingdom division system. as you can see, five kingdom classification system. Five kingdom classification system. It tells that entire plant and animal. When we are talking about biology classification, so you must remember that in the biology we will go for the classification of plant kingdom and animal kingdom. It means in the biology we study about the classification of plant and animals. Definitely in the biology you study about the botany and geology. Geology means study of animals, and botany which arises from the botany, it's a grass. In the botany we study about the plants, right? So when we go for the classification, we always cover the plant and animal. And in the classification, there are many scientists who is the father of classification, who is, the Carolus Linnaeus is the father of classification. You must remember the role, the contribution of Linnaeus, Carolus. Carl von Linnaeus, or you can call Carolus Linnaeus, who has given the classification system. Okay? And when we are moving for the five kingdom classification system, this five kingdom classification system was given by the scientist Robert Whittaker. So, who has given the classification, five kingdom classification system? You should remember the name of Robert Whittaker. Got my point? So there are two scientists who contributed for the classification. Must remember, the first scientist, the father of classification, who started the classification, is the Carolus Linnaeus, and the second who has given the five kingdom classification system is Robert Whittaker. So when we are moving for the module number 2 in the five kingdom classification system, definitely we will begin from the number 1 classification, kingdom number 1, kingdom number 2, 3, 4, 5. So entire plants and animals are categorized into 5 kingdom division system. Like in some other classification system, there are scientists like Lamarck, Darwin, who classified into different group in different categories on some basis. But here the scientist Robert Whittaker has given the 5 kingdom classification, means entire plants and animals are grouped into 5 kingdom. In the 5 kingdom, all plants and animals are categorized very, very well. Right? Yes. So, the first kingdom in the 5 kingdom division system, there is always, student must remember, there is serial number. Like in the classification, you must remember that the first one is very simpler. Then we are moving to the complex one. Means when we begin anything, the first kingdom is very, very simple, very, very undeveloped. And then later on, we are moving to the hierarchy, moving to the higher level, moving to the complexity. So when in the classification, it's an important part of the biology. So there are certain rule regulation that why you have taken the first kingdom, what is the position of this plant and animal, and why this is kept in this category. So there are certain reason behind the naming first. So you should not start from the end, from the middle. You are not free to start anywhere, from anywhere. No. In the classification, very first we will start with the simpler organisms, with the simpler plants and animals. When we start the plant kingdom, we will take a very simple one, very undeveloped, very smaller plants, and then we'll go for the complex group of the plant. And in animal, when we will begin, we will start the simple one, undeveloped, unicellular, and then serial wise we will be moving towards the complexity. Now, so when we start the kingdom 1, the first kingdom the first one is Monera kingdom. What is the first one? The kingdom Monera. And in these, there are many members who are the single celled. They are undeveloped, very single. When I will give you example, you must remember that these animals are the example of this kingdom. The first one is bacteria. Cyanobacteria, blue-green algae. Mycoplasma, diatoms. So bacteria, cyanobacteria, mycoplasma are the member of this kingdom. In the Monera, all these are non-green. Some bacteria are the photosynthetic, sulfobacteria. So in this category, we are going to notice that all the animals are very undeveloped, single-celled, and the chlorophyll is absent. Okay? In the structure, you will notice in the next classes that what are the characteristics of the Moneras. Okay? So when we start, the first kingdom out of the 5 is the Monera. In this, what are the example? Bacteria, cyanobacteria, which is also called blue-green algae, and the mycoplasma, PPLO, pleuropneumonia-like organisms. You must remember. So 2-3 examples you have to remember: diatoms, dinoflagellates, etc., etc. So moving to the next, kingdom number 2. The second one is Protista. Second one is Protista. It means it includes the protozoa, the first animals. Because in the Monera we have kept very smaller organisms like these, and in the Protista we are going to begin all the protozoa, first animal. The first animal in the Protista, we have kept first animal in this category. So protozoa means amoeba, euglena, paramecium. You can write example of this. Amoeba euglena, paramecium. There are many examples. As I told in the first lecture that there are more than 1.7 million species of plants and animals are there in the classification. To make our study simple and easy, I have started this 5 kingdom classification system. So in the Monera there are certain members, and in the Protista again there are members for the Protista, the first animal. Okay, so when we start, we always begin with the smaller one, undeveloped, and then serialized we are moving to the complex level. And after these two, number 3, I would like to write, yeah. 2 I can write. After this, Protista, fungi, number 4, plantae. I'm not going to write the kingdom. The fungi, plantae and Animalia. So when we are moving after the kingdom Protista, I'm coming to the fungi. But there would be question that, sir, why you are categorize fungi and plantae, you are keeping into 2 kingdom, why you are not keeping in 1 kingdom? What is the difference between fungi and plantae? Any guess? Some of you can understand that why the Robert Whittaker has categorized at different places, because the fungi is not green. All fungi are non-green plants. So got my point? Fungi can't prepare their food. They are not autotrophs. They are heterotrophs. They cannot perform the photosynthesis. So that is why the scientist has kept into different category. And in this fungi, you will notice that all non-green plants, there are many group classes of the fungi, in the non-chlorophyllous plants category, you will remember the examples. Penicillium is the first antibiotics prepared from the fungi, Penicillium notatum. You must remember some plants name, scientific name like Penicillium notatum, okay, like in the plant Citrus deodar. There are many examples in the plant like wheat, Triticum acetium. I can write many examples of the plants, many scientific name of the plant you have to remember. Like in animal you have to remember the 4 or 5 names. So same thing, you should also remember the scientific name of plants, right? So Penicillium, and there are many examples of the fungi which are non-green plants and which cannot prepare their own food. They are not autotrophs, they are heterotrophs. Okay, when Puccinia graminis, Puccinia triticii, there are many examples of the fungi. You have noticed rust, smut are there in this category, right? So in the fungi, we will study about the different groups. Albigo, okay, Puccinia. So you can write Puccinia, rust, smut diseases are there in the plant. You can remember 2-3 examples, because sometime it could be asked that give the examples of the few fungi, give the examples of the monerans, right? So it can be there that 1 marks question, 2 marks questions, short answer type question, very short answer type questions, there would be multiple choice of question, there would be. So you have to choose that if I am going to write the four options for fungi, so there would be 3 wrong option and 1 would be correct. So if there are penicillium, there is Puccinia, so you have to remember the 4-5 example of the fungi. So when we move for the 3rd level, you have to remember that there are certain places that the fungi is kept between Protista and plantae. There would be question that after Protista which kingdom is falling. So after Protista you are going to study the fungi, and after fungi which one is plantae. Now in the plants, don't confuse that this is, alright. In the plant, when we start the classification of plants, all green plants which are autotrophs and which can perform the photosynthesis, they are kept in the plantae, right? So it is very easy and clear that example of plants we can keep, since the plant kingdom is big one, so you can categorize, there are category in the plant, you know, all green plants means phanerogamous, cryptogamous and phanerogamous. There is again Latin term, the cryptogamous plant and phanerogamous. It means all the plants are categorized into 2 big groups. Non-green plants are kept into the cryptogamous, and in the phanerogamous all flowering. So cryptogamous, non-flowering, and phanerogamous got my point? In the when we are going to start this plant kingdom, we will divide into 2 groups, phanerogamous, cryptogamous. Cryptogamous in this non-flowering, and when we will go for the further division, you must remember the non-flowering. There are some non-flowering plants like Thylophyta, Bryophyta, Pteridophyta. Again you can remember there are 3 groups. In the cryptogamous, for the further division, for the further classification, although you need not to write this, for the beginning it is sufficient that you should remember the 5 kingdom name and the example, but if you are going for the further division of this plant kingdom, you can divide the cryptogamous again divided into Thylophyta. What is the meaning of phyta? Plants. That's why I am telling you, sometime I told you, I explained that learn the meaning of the Latin terms. Phyta means plant, and these plants are thyloid. These plants are not divided into root, hairs, stem and leaves. They are very undeveloped and they are kept in the Thylophyta category. It means all these are very undeveloped, they are poor categories, they don't have well developed leaf, stem and roots. So they are kept in the thylophyta. The meaning of thylo means thyloid, undifferentiated, undivided, thyloid, thylus structure is there, right? So thylophyta. Then bryophyta. In the thylophyta, you must remember Rixia, Markensia, Fusarium, Volvox, Udogonium. There are many examples. Spirogyra in the thylophyta. In the bryophyta, Rixia, Markensia, Anthoceros. There are examples of the bryophyta class, bryophyta category. And after the bryophyta, the more advanced plant, when the leaves, root hairs and stems are there, you must remember in the pteridophyta, P is silent. Pteridophyta means firm. It means leaves are there. Leaves are seen in this category serial wise when we are moving from simpler one to complex. So thylophyta, bryophyta and pteridophyta. So all these are kept in the cryptogamous category. Now moving to the phanerogamous, there are two categories, gymnosperm and angiosperm. In these two, you are going to notice naked seeds are there. They are flowering plants, no doubt. And in this, you will see again divided into two categories, gymnosperm and angiosperm. When the seeds are covered, they are kept in the gymnosperm category, and when the seeds are uncovered, naked seeds are there, without seed coats, seeds are there, so that is kept in the angiosperm category. Again, angiosperm is divided into two categories, dicots monocots. So when you start the classification, you have to remember some name and some members in the classification category, right? So the plants, you must remember the name: cycas, pinus, wheat, rice. All the plants are falling in the category of this plantae, and in this you can divide first two main group. In the cryptogamous, all non-flowering plants are coming, and in the phanerogamous, all flowering plants. Then cryptogamous you can divide into three subclasses: thylophyta, bryophyta, and look at this, pteridophyta. And after that, when we are moving to the phanerogamous, again you have to divide into two categories: gymnosperm, pinus, cycas, all the non-seed coat, without seed coat. The naked seeds are there in the gymnosperm. Sperm means seed, gymnos means naked, and angio means with the seed coat. So angiosperm, all the seeds which are covered with the seed coat, which are more developed, is falling in the angiosperm. Then again, angiosperm can be divided into dicotyledons, into monocotyledons. There are examples of dicotyledons. Mono means papaya are the example of monocots. They are having one cotyledons and they are having two cotyledons. In the further explanation I will explain. So as far as the five kingdom classification system is concerned, there are category of these. Okay, so the last one is the kingdom fifth. The last kingdom is kingdom Animalia. Kingdom Animalia. in this. In the Animalia, as you know, all the animals are kept in the Animalia category. Like in the Animalia, you can divide into two categories. Kingdom Animalia, non-chordates and chordates. To make our study simple and easy, we can divide all the animals into two categories. All the non-chordates are undeveloped like Porifera, Coelentata, Platyhelminthes, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata, Urochordata. Then we are moving to the chordates, means all bony animals are kept in this, and in that category we will start the amphibia, the pisces, then reptiles, then aves, birds, and the last one is mammalia. So when we start the division or classification of five kingdom division system in classification, Animalia is kept at the last, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 you can remember. So fifth number kingdom Animalia is there, and in this category we will notice the what type of animals and which one is kept first and then which one is falling in the advanced level. So in the first level, without bony, simpler animals like amoeba, eulina, paramis, and then porifera, cycon, many examples. Then porifera, coelenterata, hydra, obelia, aurelia are there. Then annelida, means earthworm is there. Then arthropoda, scorpion, jointed legs are there. Okay, Platyhelminthes, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata, Urochordata. So there are many categories of animals are there which are grouped into two subtopics, non-chordates category and chordates category, where the well-developed bones are there in this chordate category. So the last one is one example already I would like to give you, lichen. Lichen, this is not grouped into fungi, into plant, not into the animal. It is connecting link between algae and fungi. This is the examples of the mutualism. This is the very good example of symbiosis. Lichen, as you know that lichen is the pollution free indicator. At this height in my Nainital, so there are lichens which is found at the height of 7,000 feet, and whereas the air quality index is under 100, and lichens are the collection, the 50% part is made up of algae and 50% part is made up of fungi. So algae synthesize the food and fungi provides the minerals to the food. So both species, algae and fungi, are going to get benefit from each other. So it is mutual relationship of two at one place, and both species are getting benefit. This is called symbiosis. So it's a good example of lichen. I am not giving position in the fungi in the plants, but it has a separate place. It is not kept in the fungi, it is not kept in the algae. It is connecting link between algae and fungi. So it was for the five kingdom division system. In this module, in this lecture, I explain you five kingdom division system, and you have to remember the example of this group, you have to remember the name of kingdom, etc. So at moving to the last point, as you know that I always give you questions So the assignment question number 1. What is five kingdom classification system? Who has given number 2? Who has given five kingdom classification? Right? What are the examples of Monera? You can write 2-3 examples for the Monera, and the last one you can write who is the father of classification linear. Who is So I think in this module it's very easy, very simple. You can easily attempt all these assignment questions. I am sure that there is no doubt in your mind. If you are having any doubt, you can ask. And now you have to start this five kingdom division system writing with these questions. Okay. So I will be meeting with the next module next time. Thank you.